Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sarah Jones and I am the creator of all the bad decisions you see on this page. So in this part, we are doing part 4 of the Tyvek gown, and I'm going to show you guys how I pad out my child-sized dress form that's actually really just a mannequin to the measurements of my daughter so that we can then drape the corset for the rainbow dress on this, the Tyvek rainbow dress. So stick around and let's go. Here is the mannequin without the skirt on it. By the way, check out the skirt on a dress form as sort of like a neck collar. Kind of looks interesting. Anywho, so I have already had padding on this from when it was holding up the skirt. The padding that I'm going to be using to pad out this dress form is from the Shop company. It is called Fabulous Fit. It's just a padding package that has all different size padding. It's not cheap. I think it was about 85 bucks, but you can also use like quilting batting to pad. You can use any sort of other paddings if you have like bra pads lying around or something like that. Shoulder pads, you can use that to pad your dress form. I bought these to pad adult dress forms, but it's going to have to work for the child size. I marked right here because I want my center front, the length of my corset, to be about 11 inches, and that ends about right here. So I just wanted to mark, I'm going to have to pretend like up here in the shoulder area is the bust and pad that area as the bust, the waist, and the hips because this torso is so short. Usually if I was making a corset for an adult that would be used for like tight lacing and all that kind of stuff, there would be a ton more measurements. Center front, front bust, back bust, side, waist, distance from the bust to the waist, distance from the waist to the hips, just a ton. Different distance here, yada, yada, yada. So because this is just for my child and I can fit her as many times as I need and she's here, I'm going to simplify it. And we are just doing bust, waist, and hip measurements. And I will pad it so that this mannequin is as close to her measurements as possible. And then I will make necessary changes on the pattern paper, and I will show you guys all of that as well. And this video will just be padding her so I can keep these kind of short. So I only need to add about 1.5 inches to the bust. I need to add 3/4 of an inch to the waist, and the hips is the biggest. I need to add 6 3/4 to the hips. If I cannot get that padded out on this properly, I will make little adjustments on the pattern paper, but we're going to try and get as close as possible. So all I'm going to do is take the paddings that I do have and pin them on and get as close to those measurements as I said, and then I'm going to wrap this so that it'll have a nice smooth exterior so that I can pin the muslin on it as I drape. I moved the bust padding to the sides just so that all of the measurement wasn't up front. This kind of makes the measurement more sort of all the way around rather than just up top. So, and then one little trick about when you are pinning things to your dress form, I always try and keep the ends of my needles facing the same way. So for me, I try and keep them facing down just so that when I do start draping on this, I know that if I'm going like this, I'm going to get poked. So it's just sort of, to save myself from bleeding over and over again. And I also try to tuck it in. This is a very thin fabric, and behind it is just foam. So there's not really a lot to pin into, but I do try and tuck my needles in so that just to, help save me from all the pokes that I will certainly get in the future. Now she is looking very lumpy and bumpy. So what I am going to do to sort of smooth it out a little bit is I'm just going to use my shoulder pads and just sort of make one smooth, just lay over a single layer and just sort of smooth all of this out. And then after that, I'm either going to put like an ace bandage wrap around it, or a sticky sort of ace bandage wrap around it, or I'm going to leave it as is. I'm just going to see how smooth it ends up being and if I can actually pin and drape over it. There are some covers that you can use. They're almost like skin tight dresses, almost, that after you pad an adult dress form, you can put it over it and it just sort of like hugs everything and holds it together. All the ones that I have are probably going to be too big for this one, but I might try one just to see. Ultimate goal is you just want a nice, smooth, almost seamless mannequin or dress form, so that you can lay your muslin on it, pin it, and mark it for your pattern. So I'm going to smooth her out and we'll see how good she ends up looking. Okay, she is all done. I ended up using self-adhesive ace bandages to wrap her up, sort of like a mummy, and get everything nice and tight and sealed in there. I also marked her waist, bust, and hips that coordinate with the measurements for my daughter. Is she perfect? No, she's not. But we will perfect this pattern through on the pattern paper, and also through making the mock-up and fitting it on her. As I said earlier, my daughter is here. It's very simple to just do a couple of fits if I need to. I don't need to be super rigid on getting everything perfect. I'm not, shipping this out to a client, the mock-up or anything like that, or any of that kind of stuff. So she's pretty good for now. The next video, we are going to drape and transfer the drape pieces to pattern paper. I'll show you how to do that. And that's it for today. I appreciate you watching and keeping track with this series. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. You can watch all my my previous recordings for the making of this gown. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.